So the penultimate episode of Titans, literally this is the episode before the last one. I believe episode 11 is the last one. Anyway, what is the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? I hope you get that reference. Because Trigon has finally come from his dimension and this is going to set up for an explosive finale. So let's talk about Titans Season 1, Episode 10. How's it going, Titans? Absolutely buzzed to talk about today's episode. So today's episode was a very, very good episode. I have to admit, towards the beginning, I thought that maybe it was going a bit slow. Even with like this whole episode being very Starfire centric, despite learning a lot about the main plot. Finally to do a Trigon and quite a few twists and turns that I really, really enjoyed. That first part, I was enjoying, but I was starting to accept, okay, I was like, maybe this is going to be in the midst of everything with the plot, but just exploring Kori's, origins, how she got to Earth, the whole spaceship jazz. But then a lot of stuff happened, I mean, it is the penultimate episode after all. So I was thinking, wow, they went there. Of course they would. It's the second to last episode. I don't know what I was thinking, but I need to get talking about this, guys. But anyway, guys, of course, subscribe to this channel if you want to stay up to date with Titans, everything until now, till Season 2 and beyond. And of course, like the video if you do go on to enjoy it. So as always, everyone, naturally we have to start at the beginning of the episode, and that is quite a cool tie into last episode, because last episode within its own right was a badass episode, but some people didn't like the idea of how Hank and Dawn's episode or origin was like randomly kind of placed right at the end there, even though it did have the tie-in of what I'm about to speak about, and that is Rachel. We're seeing it from Rachel's side, like in last episode, how she was calling out to Hank and calling out to Dawn. I'm guessing with everything that happened in this episode, they're gonna get there just in time for this whole explosive Trigon stuff at the end. But I thought that was cool anyway. When Donna Troy rocks up, my god, is she badass with that lasso of freaking truth. My god, Wonder Girl, there she is. Anyway, proceeding on, I kind of felt sorry for Starfire, but because she basically woke up, didn't even remember what she just did, and seeing Rachel's reaction there, and the mother's reaction, even though we have a lot to talk about Rachel's mother. But anyway, it would kind of make you hate yourself, like, especially hearing that you just tried to kill somebody you really deeply care about. But anyway, she wanted to drive off because even though she kind of didn't remember it, she still had this inkling of how to fully recover her memory, and that was a really cool part to the episode. So of course, Dick and Donna wanted to track her, but that's when we got a little Wonder Girl throwing star tracker, which I absolutely loved as well. She was like, come on, you're not the only one who has cool gadgets. Now, while Donna Troy and Robin were going after Koriand'r this episode, on the side we had some weird stuff going on at Rachel's mother's house. Now, I was starting to get a little bit suspicious when that whole conversation happened with the sheriff, or the deputy sheriff, and Rachel's mum. I was like, okay, that scene was really weird. It wasn't, but it was. I think you guys will know what I mean by that. I think they definitely wanted you to suspect the sheriff, but that guy was completely harmless, as we came to learn towards the end. I guess that's maybe to make us throw off the fact that Rachel's mum had a lot more to her than what we initially thought, and maybe make us think that the sheriff was going to do something bad, so that twist at the end was more impactful. But not only did I feel bad about Starfire / Kori this episode, I felt bad for Rachel as well, because, she is, I think what a lot of people need to remember is that she's really young. So, I'll talk about later about the manipulation and how easy that was to happen with her parents, but I still feel like, her blaming herself in this episode for just trying to help Kori was sad. I felt sorry for her. And obviously Gar as well. Like, she had a little bit of a, projection onto Gar, because she essentially adores him and said that he should probably leave the house. That really kind of hurt him in a way, because he just wanted to make her feel better. Those scenes I really appreciated this episode. I've said across this whole season in my reviews that I really love these two together and their friendship, and who knows where that might lead in the future. So, Gar was being somewhat tortured in this episode in a way from the house. Now, I will say right now, before we jump into the stuff deeper, that I definitely feel like her mother had something to do with that. It wasn't necessarily just the house, or maybe it was from the point of that it could be an anchor to Trigon's dimension. I definitely feel like either way, from what we found out from the end of the episode, this was more or less orchestrated by her mother. Maybe it was like the soup or whatever he ate, regardless of what was happening and what purpose that served to bring Trigon back. Gar was suffering quite a lot, because we obviously got the fallout from that. Was it last episode or a couple episodes back when he was talking to Kori on the train about feeling bad about killing that guy when he was in the tiger form at that asylum. And then like that haunted and plagued him in this episode as well. Also, that kind of reminds me at the beginning of the episode as well, what kind of makes you not suspect anything about Rachel's mum is because when she was looking around the house, you thought that maybe something was going on in the house. I thought it was definitely Trigon related, but she seemed surprised by it. So that made you think she wasn't in on it. So that's another little food for thought thing I feel like everyone should remember there. Anyway, guys, moving on to the really, really cool Corey moment. And that is when she led herself to this kind of abandoned building. And her freaking spaceship was in there. And this was a really cool moment. The effects were great. I was really gobsmacked and I really appreciated the soundtrack. It was like really like revelation-y in that moment. Music is such an under-noticed, under-realized, I can't speak, thing in TV shows, movies, and everything. You know, imagine your favorite films that have had a big impact on you without music in it. It just wouldn't have the same effect. It really made that moment something we've been waiting for all season long with Corey and just Starfire's journey. Really impactful. I freaking loved Dick and Donna Troy's reactions. I think Donna Troy's was a bit more funny. She was literally like, what's going on? But anyway, they both went aboard. And this is where she started to find out a little bit more about herself. As I said, the design and the set of the ship was really, really cool. We got the explanation from Corey. It was like one little pellet she was picking up after another in terms of her memories here. She was like, I come from the planet Tamara. And that is when she busted out the book known as the Koriand'r Dire, the Death of Worlds book. And this is where it essentially explains the Trigon like mission really, and what he does and what he's going to do and how it will mean the end of everything. And this is where a whole ton of stuff came out this episode, guys, that was seriously important. And I thought this was the extent we were going to get this episode. Seriously, I thought, okay, so maybe, and I'll address this a little bit later, this is going to be a season 2 villain. They might finally show him in the next episode. Little did I know we got him this episode. But I thought like the hologram and everything we saw was what we were going to get this episode. And they were like, oh shit, impending threat coming. We need to get back to the house. But I did not expect what we got at the end. But anyway, in terms of what we learned about Trigon from Corey and the ship and everything, and that future projection wasn't of Earth, it was actually Tamaran. And that was her world burning. So that's obviously why they sent Starfire to kill Rachel. They did give another explanation as to how Trigon could be defeated, and I want to get into that in a second. But anyway, Dick and Corey thought, oh, is Rachel doing that? But she was like, no, this is someone from another dimension who is doing this burning on that future projection. He came here long ago, he destroyed a world, but he was banished somehow. So I'm really looking forward to see how Titans are going to explore it, even if they actually, I hope they do, give us that explanation as to why or how Trigon was banished into that dimension before. Anyway, Corey went on to explain to Donna Troy and Dick Grayson that he was summoned to Earth to conceive a daughter. That is exactly what happened, and that's when we got the cool little Trigon hologram, and he was definitely, you know, I feel like true to his form. We didn't get like a face version of the demonic form. But anyway, this dump of information kind of concluded with Corey just saying that Earth will be the first planet he will cover in his darkness, but eventually everything, all worlds, will burn. But that is when, from the book of Koriand'r Dire, they found out, okay, that's Rachel. Who's this? Is that the mum? And I feel like Dick Grayson's reaction of, you know, the F-bomb, I don't want to say it just in case of demonetization purposes, was everyone's reaction. Like, I knew something was fishy was going on, but as I said, like, they played it very well, I feel. It probably didn't fool everyone, but the way they played it throughout the episode with the mum about not suspecting her was pretty cool. Anyway, 2-second segment, the sheriff man arrives to the house for, like, you know, I thought, okay, so what's going on with you? But he gets screwed up by Rachel's mom. She stabs him, and she was like, I'm in a relationship. And that is just when it was like, oh crap, she's crazy. She's been with Trigon this whole time. This is when everything was like climaxing in the episode, and I knew we were in for a treat. And I was just like, my eyes were like glued to the screen. But that is when we learned, as I mentioned a second ago, there is only one way of defeating Trigon other than, I guess, killing Rachel to stop him from coming over here. But since that's a bit too late, if you want to defeat Trigon, Rachel would technically have to go through 400 consecutive days of the harshest warrior training. And she mentioned nobody has survived that before. But I do find that kind of really cool. Does this mean they're actually going to do that? Is there going to be a time jump of a year between season 1 and season 2? Because I really do think with what we're about to talk about, if they defeat Trigon in the next episode, that would be dumb. you would have to think that he has to be a season 2 villain. I feel like I would be completely up for, and the audience will be, him as a season 2 villain, since he's been overshadowing as the big villain this season, but we haven't had him all season till the second to last episode and the last episode. So I think it'd be really cool if Rachel, if there's some kind of time jump where she becomes like Raven after the 400 days of consecutive warrior harsh training. But anyway, poor Rachel is witnessing her best friend bleeding out, and this is where she was getting manipulated by the woman that she trusts to heal Gar, and the only way you can do that, Rachel, is through calling Daddy. Trust me, he's close to you. He's always been close to you. He's stronger than you. He could save Gar. Even Rachel was like, but I'm a bit confused. But anyway, this ends up happening, and this is when the mirror opens up a portal to Trigon's dimension, and this, I feel like, was reminiscent of what happened in the Doom Patrol episode. And I definitely feel like that was another like moment of where Trigon could have possibly have come through. You would have to think so anyway. So this is a similar way in that mirror. And that's when we saw like the demonic hand come through. But typically, as I assumed, you know, many videos ago, Shameless Divas comes through in human form. And why did they do human form? A lot of you may be wondering. It is a lot of money. You know, Trigon, sure, he is a big ass demonic mother effer, right? But you can't have him in that form always. It's just a lot of money. You could save it for human form and then occasionally pop him in that form when the time calls for the cool moment of the finale, maybe, or like the really badass moment where they're battling Trigon. But my mind was blown in this moment, guys. I was just like, oh my god, like Raven's mom just went straight out to him, started cuddling up to him. It's like, oh lover, like I've been waiting. Is it time for the world to burn now? And I was just like, oh god, like this lady has played us all pretty good. And it just does make me think, though. I do want to go back to the question of if she's been loyal to Trigon this whole time. Did she actually give Raven away to Melissa then? You know, the fake mother who got killed in episode 1? Or was Melissa a part of another organization who generally did steal Raven from, Rachel's mother? And so that's the question within itself. We'd love to know your thoughts about that. Or did Rachel's mother have a change of mind in the asylum? Also, if that is the case, then, or isn't the case, why did the asylum or the Church of Blood or like the organization or whatever they want to call it at this point, you know, capture Trigon's wife or girlfriend or whatever you want to call her, Rachel's mother, and hold her this whole time, unless that was a proper bait, you know, for, I don't know, you can get into this deeply, but I'm sure we will get these answers soon enough, or maybe we won't, and they won't address it. As Trigon said himself, I will do anything for you or anything for you, and he saves Gar, and I like the little line he said, it's like, man or beast, like, you will have a lifetime to decide. I thought that was a pretty epic line. Anyway, Rachel hugs her father. I thought this was completely fine, believe it or not. She's such a young girl. She's been told mind-effing things about her father and her mother, both of which contradict each other. So she's probably just thinking, and her dad does seem kind of really nice, even though he's like the deep darkness of evil. So I get why she went to his father. She's been a girl without family her whole life. And her father did just do something that saved Gar, that like one of the only people she cares about in this world besides like Dick and Corey and stuff. So, you know, I feel like this is believable. But anyway, it was very interesting, as I said, when Rachel's mother said, is it time to eat the world? And that's when Trigon was like, no, not until her heart breaks. So what I think is going on here, guys, is that basically Trigon wants Raven, for lack of a better word, to get triggered. So when she's triggered, she can help conquer every world with Trigon. She won't have a reason to care about anything or anyone. Perhaps she'll be in constant demonic mode. You get what I'm trying to say here. And how could that be accomplished? Maybe it's through killing Gar. But maybe it's the bigger plan, because as you could tell, Trigon was waiting for Dick Grayson and the others who are coming to come into the house, so I guess he could kill them. What would break Rachel's heart beyond than just killing Gar? Killing everyone, like Dick, her new family, take them away from the equation. She will be an embodiment of darkness, I feel, once again, and her father will nurture that in the most evil way possible. And as we got from the predictions and the future projections from on Corey's ship, that will be to burn her world, Earth, and everything. So, gonna be very interesting to see what happens next episode. And from when I was watching, there was no trailer for the next episode. I guess they want to keep that very lock and key. But there is a preview photo of the next episode on the thumbnail. And it has a photo of Dick Grayson wandering around, but there is a Batman shadow. Next episode, Dick might actually, on his journey to potentially putting on that Nightwing suit, might see Bruce Wayne, although it might be a fake one. I'm sure it might be maybe a manifestation of Trigon's, you know, evil hallucinations. Maybe Dick might see Batman. You could put a million different ideas into it. We don't have a trailer right now, as I said, but guys, I am blown away from this episode. I am so pumped for next week's finale. Titans has already been renewed, if you didn't know, quite a while ago now for season 2. So guys, let me know your thoughts and speculations on everything that could happen in the next episode. And let me know your thoughts on what I said in terms of, you know, everything. Like, do you agree with anything I said? Do you disagree, or just do you have anything to add on to it? But other than that, guys, like this video. If you did enjoy, subscribe for more Titans videos like this. Of course, links as always are in the description down below to my Twitter, to my social media, to merch, and to Patreon, where you can fuel the content that I create a little bit further. But guys, until next week's episode, we're in for a treat then. I'm going to have to say goodbye, so I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you Titans in the next video. Goodbye.